Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generations discussion. And today I want to discuss with you guys something that I've seen a lot of fans mention, especially since we've learned the conditions for which Momoshiki can take over Boruto's body, i.e. the point where Boruto loses a certain amount of chakra and it allows Momoshiki to hijack his consciousness until Momoshiki is forced to absorb jutsu, or Boruto's own mental strength is strong enough that he's able to wrestle control back from Momoshiki. This has led to a bunch of people asking to look for various ways to prevent this from happening, and there are two methods in particular that people have pointed out that is deserving of their own video. And in today's video we're going to look at method number one, which is Boruto learning Sage Mode. Now this one actually has a lot of foreshadowing already built into the story for it, and it makes a ton of sense given how much we know about Sage Mode, the foreshadowing for Boruto acquiring Sage Mode, and the benefits that come from Boruto gaining this power. Now I know the knee-jerk reaction to a Sage Mode Boruto is going to be one of three responses in the fandom. Number one, it's going to be, oh my god, they're making Boruto a custom created character in a video game. He's so broken that it's unfair. Number two, it's going to be, why does he have to get another one of Naruto's powers in jutsu? Why can't Naruto have something that just belongs to him, even though Naruto took up from other people in other generations? Number three, if this happens, I'm totally out of here. Look, I don't like the idea as much as a lot of you guys do, but let's be real for a second. Number one is more of a meme response versus the reality of the kid has an upbringing, which makes perfect sense for why he's learned as much as he did. And if we're being honest here and we're taking the bias out of it, he's nowhere near as broken from a skill perspective as Prime Hiruzen, who knew every single fighting style and every hidden jutsu in Konoha. Until Boruto does something like that, I ain't complaining. Number two is a bad take because one of the whole themes of Naruto is passing down your jutsu and your knowledge to the next generation, so that jutsu and that knowledge lives on, and then the new generation, they add something else to the jutsu to make it their own. Number three, I just call cap. People have been saying that they're dropping this series for years. Those same people, they stick around or they stay updated on the series like closet fans, and then when something big happens, those same people say, oh my god, I dropped the series but I know everything that's going on. They got an opinion to weigh in. That being said, Sage Mode would give Boruto the title of the strongest faster than you can gain the title Lord or Lady by visiting Established Titles, which is also going to be the sponsor for today's video. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping with global reforestation efforts. It's a project based in historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, or lords and ladies in English. With Established Titles, you get at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with the crest, which has a unique plot number to show you your land. Established Titles plants a tree with every order they receive and work with charities like One Tree Planet and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. Just as Naruto gets to call himself Lord Hokage, you can officially call yourself Lord or Lady, which now that I have this certificate calling me a Lord, it's going to be on my desk and everybody who comes to my office has to call me the Lord. And you can get it on your credit card or your plane tickets, or you sussy bakas can even use it on your dating profiles. If you go for the romantic route, you can also purchase the couples pack, which comes with adjoining plots of land. The first 200 people purchasing the title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot within a few minutes of walking distance from it. Depending on how many of you guys want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our own little Naruto Explained kingdom. My late grandmother, who just passed away, not only loved flowers but also trees as well, so I'm gonna purchase one to honor my late grandmother. It makes an amazing last minute gift. Established Titles is actually running an early Black Friday sale, plus if you use the promo code EXPLAIN, you get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/explain to get your gift and help support the channel. Thank you again to Established Titles for sponsoring today's video. So what exactly has been foreshadowed for Boruto to learn Sage Mode? Well, if we dive beneath the surface of, oh, he's Naruto's son, Sage Mode was passed down from master to student and from godfather to godson. So of course, Naruto would teach it to Boruto. For as awesome as it would be to see Naruto bonding with Boruto in that way, undergoing that training and hearing all these warm stories about how Naruto was struggling to learn Sage Mode at first, is actually a different type of Sage Mode that Boruto's been foreshadowed to gain. If we we go back to the Mitsuki desertion arc, we have Boruto pass the ryuuchi cave trials, and because his body proved that it was strong enough to undergo Sage Mode training, Boruto was offered to be taught Sage Mode from the White Snake Sage at the ryuuchi cave. Now, Boruto wasn't seeking to gain that power at the time, but it's a huge thing to just casually drop into the story that Boruto's body at that point in time was strong enough to undergo Sage Mode training. Not everyone is fit for Sage Mode, and I think sometimes it's easy for people to forget it because it seems like if there's a major character, we've seen them with Sage Mode, when in reality, it's only been a few characters who've been able to master this power. Jiraiya, Naruto, Minato had Toad Sage Mode, Kabuto had Snake Sage Mode, and Mitsuki appears to have some variation of it. Hashirama has an unknown Sage Mode that's never been officially named, despite what people have said. There is no name for it. That's a very short list, but it's for a really good reason. Sage Mode requires an enormous chakra reserve just to attempt the training itself. That alone disqualifies most of the Naruto universe because it's not large chakra reserves, it's emphatically stated you need enormous chakra reserves. Orochimaru tried to attain this power but was rejected because the body he possessed at the time couldn't undergo that training. The fact that Boruto was approved was a sign that his chakra reserves, while they are a lot smaller than Naruto's, Boruto still has a large enough chakra pool to undergo that training. Since then, Boruto's own chakra has grown even larger, which we know based off of how Naruto as a series has told us that chakra levels can be increased, which is through physical training, combat, and through deep meditation. Something that we've seen Boruto undergo training for each of these aspects since that moment has occurred. That's before we even factor in the karma seal and the benefits that come from the karma, or the fact that Boruto's body is now 100% Otsutsuki. The reason for the high chakra reserves is that when Sage Mode is being used, a person has to balance out the nature energy that they're taking in with their own chakra. Too little and it doesn't work. Too much and they turn into stone. However, the benefits are a large boost to physical stats that give tremendous power and access to unique fighting styles in association with Sage Mode, as well as some pretty broken sensory skills. The whole concept behind Boruto learning Sage Mode makes a lot of sense. Gain this power and you're able to put Boruto in a situation where you have him using more nature energy in combat and he's not having to use as many chakra based jutsu. Also, since his body is now Otsutsuki on a genetic level, there's a potential he can hold on to Sage Mode for a longer period of time if we include the filler from Naruto Shippuden where Hagoromo gained access to this power. Hagoromo thought enough of Sage Mode to learn it before his battle with Kaguya, so there is something to Sage Mode in and of itself. Whether or not it gives Boruto the ability to do something like Kabuto does with Jugo cells, which is gather a continuous amount of nature energy, it remains to be seen, but the fact that he could be going to the ryuuchi cave to train is really important, especially if he does have the ability to gather nature energy continuously without the need for shadow clones. And given how strong the current opponents are in the series, Sage Mode could be something when stacked with the karma seal, if that is possible. That does give Boruto one hell of a chakra boost and gives Boruto one hell of a boost in power when you add in the power that comes from karma. Now, the jutsu that comes from learning Sage Mode at Ryuuchi Cave is just downright broken to the point where it's disgusting, and we don't even know if these are the only jutsu that are taught there. They're just the only ones that we've seen. The inorganic animation jutsu allows them to take the earth and non-living objects and alter the environment to his will. This allows them to attack the enemy in ways that it's very hard to avoid because the actual battlefield itself becomes something that can be used against you in combat. Given only the heat as hot as the Amaterasu flames has been shown being able to counter the effects, and even the Sharingan had trouble with it, it potentially means that only a Byakugan or a Rinnegan would be able to see through the effects of the jutsu precisely, which makes it downright disgusting in terms of how broken it is when you look at each of those dojutsu. Then when you combine it with the white rage jutsu, which has that beam of light and that loud sound, when this jutsu is used, it shoots out a bright light so bright that the Sharingan itself is affected by it, and the sound is great enough to paralyze anyone who hears it. It gives Boruto access to a pair of jutsu that can quickly turn the tide in battle as a literal trump card that binds and blinds the enemy to one spot while he prepares, say, a compression Rasengan to attack them, or in this case it'd be a nature energy infused compression Rasengan, which could be a Saitama level one shot in terms of how dangerous dangerous that power is. The fighting style gives Boruto a safeguard to dealing with the burning through his chakra too fast, and it delays Momoshiki from taking over his body in combat, which I still see people confused about this. This can still happen. The manga literally tells us that Momoshiki can't resurrect into Boruto's body, but he can still take over Boruto's body if Boruto's chakra or his mental state of mind drops below a certain point. The only thing that's changed when Momoshiki revived Boruto is that Boruto can't be used as a resurrection tool for Momoshiki, but hijacking his consciousness is still a thing, which is why people keep looking for ways to prevent Boruto from giving up control to Momoshiki ever again, which is why this was one of the methods suggested. Now, if we do see Boruto train with Sasuke during the time skip, having Boruto be taken to Ryuuchi Cave could be something rather interesting, especially if he's initially taken there for the purposes of him getting a summoning contract with one of the snakes there. It would be a next progression, and it would thematically fit with Boruto walking a different path than his father. While Naruto inherited Toad Sage Mode from Jiraiya, who taught it to Minato, Naruto's own father, Boruto choosing a different form of Sage Mode continues the arc of the character going the opposite path of what's expected of him, and given how much fan art came out after Boruto the movie, with Boruto learning Frog Sage Mode, it makes a bunch of sense to subvert the expectations of the broader audience by giving him a different form of Sage Mode that is different from his father or grandfather, though I'll be the first one to say Boruto's design with Toad Sage Mode looks awesome. When it came time to commission artwork for this thumbnail, I could have went with the whole Dragon Sage Mode appearance, but Boruto with that Toad Sage Mode appearance is just downright cool aesthetic. However, that's just my thoughts on the benefit for Boruto learning Sage Mode. Where do you guys fall on this? While you think that over, click here to watch my Every Devil and Chainsaw Man Part 1 video, or click here for this Naruto Explained video.